Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another great episode of Bahrain Now, your source of local initiatives, happenings, talents, and trends. I'm your host, Khalid Hijris, here to walk you through our exciting lineup of segments and personalities from around Bahrain. So don't go away, we'll be right back. European and Bahraini partners got together to promote multilingualism as an enabler of intercultural understanding and business opportunities as part of a recent event to mark European Day of Languages. To speak more about this occasion, we have with us in the studio representatives from the German and French embassies in the Kingdom of Bahrain. We have here with us a Deputy Head of French Mission and Cultural Counselor at the Embassy of France in Bahrain, Ms. Charrier, and Cultural and Communications Officer at the Embassy of Germany in Bahrain, Mr. Bassam As-Samad. Welcome. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, good morning, Khalid. Thanks for hosting us.
I'm very happy to have you guys here. First of all, can you tell us about the importance of marking such an occasion?
Well, for all of us, member states of the European Union, for the European Union delegation, it was an opportunity not only to celebrate the European Language Day and language multiplicity, diversity, but it was also a celebration of cultural exchanges as well, of mutual understanding between Europe and Bahrain. And I was very happy to see among the guests, like 2/3 of attendees were Bahrainis, together with the European citizens, Indians, Filipinos, everyone, all those that make, the Bahraini society. So, more than language, we can see linguistic diversity as a bridge between our people, our history, really. That's why it is so important to us.
Like my colleague said, since its first time in 2001, the European Day of Language has offered a great opportunity to raise awareness, to learn more languages, to show up the linguistic diversity in the European Union. In this time, many schools, university, ministries, associations, club offering or taking part and organizing as well activities to show the diversity of the European languages as well. And this is what we saw also during the event. Me, for example, I learned the Lithuanian language for my first time in history, where I could now saying some word in Lithuanian, and where it's also raised my interest to know more about Lithuanian, and I think this is one of our goals which we achieved in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
I think it's really great to have an event that marks something as very human as language, because you often read like one of the things that makes humans so advanced as a species is language itself. And obviously even here in a country as small as Bahrain, we have a large diversity of spoken tongues with various different levels of fluency. But I think the thing that brings us all together is the fact that we find some way to all communicate with one another. Now, can you please elaborate a little bit about the cooperation of the various entities that mark this event and how each of those entities contributed to it?
First of all, I would like to notice the importance of culture and knowledge exchange with the Nobel Prize of Human Rapprochement. And through this event, we had a great cooperation between a lot of actors. This event has been financed by the European delegation in Bahrain with the cooperation or in cooperation with the German, French, and Italian embassies, as well as with the great work from cultural institution in Bahrain like Alliance Française, which really played a huge role to make this happen. And also as well Italian language course or a language program, as well with the Greek, Spanish and the Arab world as well, and as well Bacon School, which we cannot forget because they offered us like a Portuguese teacher, which was also very famous during the event.
And it was like a teamwork, everyone came up with ideas for the Kahoot, we had many questions that reflected the various aspects of European culture, and we had also karaoke with songs coming from Germany, and so everyone could, France and Italy, and so everyone could sing, and very concretely and in a very entertaining manner, really contribute, and in a very fun way to contribute to this event.
Exactly.
So not only the event itself was fun, but also the preparation. Of course, we had to do it in a very proper manner so that it was very well organized, and we had awards, we had games, we had songs, but it was also fun, to really be together to prepare this and organize this event.
Yes, and through the event also the language institution, they had also the chance to promote their language courses as well. Bahraini or Indian, or everyone was interested to study or to go to Europe, to travel, to just discover the culture. And I think this was a great opportunity where we also heard from by the people attending the event that they want to go to Germany to study, they want to go to France to visit an art school, or so it's really nice to show this also the diversity of opinion why people are coming. So I think mostly of the people coming with a goal, and I hope that they will achieve this goal once they start to learn the language in a professional way with the language institution in Bahrain.
Yes, the idea was basically also to raise awareness on the ways you can learn a language, a European language here in Bahrain, like through the Alliance Française, for example. You can have lessons from the age of 5 years old till 80 years old. I think that we have a student who is 80 years old at the French Alliance. So coming from any origin, you can really with a specific level and with professionalized teachers at the French Alliance, at the Alliance Française, you can really learn a language and then also attend to French-speaking events, or events that are also English-speaking, but can open the door to the knowledge of the French culture as well, as a whole.
Exactly.
I was actually going to say, that's really, for me, I think that's one of the most fascinating things about language, is that when you're learning a new language, you also learn a little bit of idioms and sayings, and that gives you a bit of insight into that culture, or how they think, or even something, for example, like a bit of their environment or anything, because anything they use for comparison, that will have little hints to the culture woven within it. And on that note, I do want to say, like, for example, I mean, we're very lucky here in Bahrain. Though we're a small country, as I said, we have a lot of diverse languages, including languages, different dialects that maybe people wouldn't even have heard of if they didn't know if they hadn't lived here. So, and I'm sure in the EU as well. I mean, that's probably very similar. You guys probably see, even within your own respective languages, you probably see a lot of these evolved dialects. So, are there any parallels like that you guys also see between Bahrain and the EU in terms of language diversity?
Well, language diversity in Europe, it's 28 countries, 24 official languages that are spoken within Europe. So those languages, basically, they reflect all the flows of communities we had throughout the European history, just like in Bahrain. And as you said, we have various interpretation of English, French, German. If German is spoken in Germany, in Austria, in Switzerland, it will not be exactly the same accent for sure. And you don't have one single language, just like you don't have one single language in Bahrain. Many idioms are spoken, and we enrich those languages by words coming from other European countries or non-European countries. Like, take Arabic, for example, which is one of the 3 most spoken non-European language in Europe. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of European language that take out of Arabic in their language, like Maltese, for example, in Malta. It's also the case for Spanish, like 6% of the Spanish vocabulary comes from Arabic. And take the French language today. You know that you have a lot of Arabic-speaking communities in French coming from Maghreb, from the Middle East, from the Near East. And so Arabic words are incorporated into the modern French language. Like, you take the new editions of the French dictionary and you will see a lot of Arabic words that you will, directly recognize from Arabic language. And this is a living language. Language are not like stuck into one specific century. It's moving, and it's moving, incorporating and adding in, new words, new ideas, new influence, including the Arabic one. So that's where, it's very important to celebrate this diversity, which makes every society grow bigger and more open to the others.
Exactly, and this is what we see in Bahrain as well, the diversity of languages and the high the tolerance in Bahrain also, which is a right reflection, what Bahrain is offering also through the religion tolerance, or to welcoming everyone in Bahrain a part of their religion or their background. And this is also one of the improvement that in Bahrain, the diversity, or it's also the right reflection. It's like what is going on in Europe. And also, if everywhere you go in Bahrain, you will find a lot of languages spoken by people. Like, for example, I'm playing in a football team where we have at least 10 different languages, which is really nice also to see different languages, which is also a reflection of different culture as well, different background. The character are different, but it's still it's one of the reasons that we have to stay along with the other languages as well, to speak them, to practice them, to hear them. I think Bahrain is the right place for that.
That's brilliantly said. And I think the main message that I'm getting from this is communication is key, and how we do that is language. And it is really interesting actually. In Bahrain, we usually say if you want a plumber, you say baifiter. And I remember for the longest time I didn't know the origin of that word. And I used to think, that's a pretty strange word. It doesn't even sound like Arabic. It turns out that it was basically an English word that had basically been adopted into Arabic. So from pipe fitter, you got baifita. Which is a really cool nugget of information, because it does show you that, like you said, language is fluid.
Yeah.
We can, I believe it's actually in Germany that due to the...
we say benzine, we say sofa, which are Arabic as well.
Exactly.
Inshallah is quite popular as well.
We say inshallah as well, I think in French. Magazine as well, yeah. If you go to North Africa, you will hear a lot of French words. Yeah. And also in Germany, you also hear some Arabic word on the street. So it's we have also Arabic names of street Arabic names in Düsseldorf, for example. So it's really that a big chance to bring people together and to build bridges, like you said, between the people. And yes. Yeah.
And really good on you guys for being part of that, for bringing that message of interweaving of basically cultures and languages in a great way of intercommunication. Now, on that note, I do want to move on to, the fact that Bahrain and the EU has enjoyed such a deep relationship for many years now, and in various different fields, obviously including languages. So can you guys tell us a little bit more about how that relationship has looked?
Yes, as you said, it's a deeply rooted and trustful relationship that EU member states have with this country. It's really a friendly relationship where we have an in-depth, link and bond that is conveyed through culture. I think we have really something in common between European culture and taste for culture, appetite for culture, and the Bahraini appetite for culture as well. So, of course, it paves the way, together with language cooperation, it paves the way to other cooperation. Let me give you 3 examples with France, because this is something that I know better than other, EU member states cooperation. This morning, we had a conference that was held by GLSI on justice and legal legal framework for companies, and it was hosted in GLSI in presence of His Excellency the Minister of Justice, and it brought together students, lawyers, and French teachers coming from French universities on very specialized matter. Why France? Because France and Bahraini have the same legal tradition, you know, that has been inspired by the Egyptian law, and the Egyptian law was inspired by the French law. So we have in common the same language. You know, it's legal language, it's law, but it is, again, something that has to do about, you know, language bonds and bridges. So culture is really paramount, you know, to build, to pave the way to other forms of cooperation. Let me give you another example in another sector, which is health. We have a French program that gives the possibility to Bahraini doctors to attend a curriculum of 3 years curriculum in French universities and hospitals, you know, in very practical and specialized curriculum in universities and hospitals for doctors. So they are provided with French lessons so that they have the right knowledge of the language to be able to communicate with their peers, you know, with the other doctors, and they come back to Bahrain with this very high level expertise. Another French know-how that we cooperate on is on hospitality. I don't know if you're aware, but we have a school here that is called Vatel. Vatel was a French chef, you know, that was, you know, an excellent chef working with the king. And there is this school in Manama here in Bahrain, and they provide Bahraini students, but also Saudi students and other nationals. They provide them with lessons and very professional curriculum so that they get the proper skills to become managers in hotels or in restaurants, or, you know, to become executive in the hospitality sector, because, you know, France has this know-how in tourism that is paramount to develop the tourism industry, and I think it is something important for Bahrain as so, you know, to get cooperation in tourism industry and tourism skills to be able to develop in this sector.
Beautifully said.
Exactly, yes. I think, as my colleague said, I strongly believe that Bahrain and the European Union sharing an excellent relation. We also here in Bahrain, we see that also as we work with some entities, some Bahraini entities in the kingdom, as Baka, Council for Sport, or also University of Bahrain, where we had also a great event last March about climate change and energy transition. We have organized this kind of event where we also invited experts from Germany to talk about climate transition, or also in sport where we've seen a Bahraini player, Mubarak Mohammed, where been also to play at in one of biggest German football clubs, playing in the Bundesliga, Borussia Mönchengladbach. He spent there 2 weeks and he came back, and I think he's happy for that, as we saw. And yes, I think both countries are really, or European Union and Bahrain are really enjoying economical, political, or also in the culture, very strong relations. And this is where we find complement as well. And I think also our two embassies, if we talk about where we have to talk about, it's they are also playing a big role also to push or to strengthen the culture scenes with the kingdom. We have seen also last week we had a jazz group coming from Germany, and they played as part in Bahrain Music International Music Festival. It was fantastic. I hope they will come back soon. And also at the next jazz festival in Bahrain, there is a Sweet Simon, also a German jazz group coming to play during the jazz festival in Bahrain. So we enjoy a great relation with Bahrain, and we are very happy with that.
I mean, again, it's just really nice to see how, especially people working in diplomacy, have this really great understanding of communication. And I think you guys briefly touched on this, that it really actually goes beyond, I would say communication language goes beyond literal language. There are, for example, events, football, jazz, or art, fashion. I know that there was a fashion thing recently with the French embassy. Many different people of many different languages, whether those languages are literal linguistic languages or not, are one story, but there are many ways to foster understanding, and those can include interests and events. So it's really encouraging to see the way that your embassies are playing a role in engaging with each other and with the Kingdom of Bahrain in multiple different avenues. Now, to go back to the literal sense of language, linguistics and all, I'm sure there are a lot of people, and especially after this event, who are really interested in engaging with EU languages. Now, I know that we've slightly touched upon some institutions, but where could someone in Bahrain go if they were interested in learning an EU language?
You will find, like I said before, you will find in Bahrain a lot of language institute. Really, Bahrain is well represented by by institution where you can learn European language, from the Greek Institute to the Italian Institute to the Arab and the Spanish and the Arab board as well, with the German language program and with the Alliance Française, which is very famous in Bahrain. I think a lot of people have visited this institute, which also making a great job also in Bahrain. People have to check their Instagram pages, their contact details, and I think they will be very welcoming. And as I mentioned before, learning a language is not also just to learn the language, it's not also to travel, it's really to get in touch with this culture, to get deep in this culture, to hear music in this culture, to read books in this language, sorry. And this is what we are aiming for through this kind of event. And I hope that we will be able also next year to host this kind of event with more participation from the Bahraini society. It's a great event.
Just a little addition, if you want to learn French, of course, you have the Alliance Française, especially if you work, you can have lessons in evenings or during the weekend, but also if you are a student, you can learn French by registering at the French International School, and so you will follow the curriculum both in French and English, because it's bilingual, and you will have Arabic lessons as well, from kindergarten to high school.
Exactly.
So you end up your curriculum with 3 languages that you master perfectly. So I think it's a great asset for the world. If you want to get job opportunities in a globalized world, it is important to master several languages. And not only, sorry to be blunt, not only English, because everyone in Bahrain speaks English. But if you want to get an added value, then add another language, add German, add French, add Spanish, and then it will open new opportunities, new markets.
Exactly.
It will, in Africa, there are so many communities that have French as their official language as well, and other markets as well will open to you. You can study in Canada, you can study in France, of course, but in other European Union countries if you speak French. So think about language not only in terms of culture, but also in terms of job opportunities, economic opportunities,
identity.
Trade opportunities, identity openness.
As Ms. Marie said, I think the language, or learning a new language, is like a key to open a door. And once you open a door, you don't know what's hidden behind. So it's really a lot of discovering. It's a lot of also, like I said before, or like my colleague also said, like a new identity, new music, new habits. Maybe you have new habits. So it's something nice and something what we are really fighting for.
Again, I'm always in awe, because I feel like a lot of people, they sometimes, we get very comfortable as human beings, right? And sometimes we forget that there's a whole world out there full of different people. And now, especially with stuff like Netflix and streaming services, you aren't really limited to what's just available in the stores. there was a time where I could only find, for example, movies in English or Arabic. But now, if I go on Netflix, I could see a French show or a German show. I mean, I think some of the most popular shows recently have been, one of them has definitely been a German show, and I'm pretty sure the French film is often, very credited quite highly. So, it is brilliant to be able to engage with that. And as you guys said, there is also a professional aspect to it. English has become very accessible, and no doubt an important language, as all languages are, but I mean, there's no harm in increasing your portfolio.
As you talk now about films, we had last May the European Film Festival in Bahrain, which we have where we showed about, or we represented like 8 films, I think 8 European films from different countries in Europe, and we had also like a high number of visitors, which they also watched a German film or a French film or a film from Estonian film, which had a very good had shown a very good vibes in Bahrain. So we think, like you said, films or also other kind of music, or also like going to this kind of event to learn a new language is really opening you a gate, not a door, I think.
So basically the idea is really beyond the language diversity, you have cultural diversity.
Exactly.
And this is really part of Europe DNA as it is part of Bahrain DNA. It's just like not one single formatted culture, language, identity. It's just open minds. So this is something that we are looking at when we work here for cultural cooperation in this country.
It's really incredible to see how these events kind of show that they communicate like so much diversity that we can internalize, but also show us ultimately that beneath all of those differences, we really are the same. We have that need to express ourselves and to communicate ideas just in different languages. Now, in addition to language learning, Bahrain and the EU countries, we enjoy outstanding bilateral cultural relationships. So building on other programs such as these, what are some of the events related to deepening these ties?
I guess all the European embassies and the European delegation are doing a great job in Bahrain with the different entities. Like I mentioned before, they are really delivering a great results in Bahrain. They're doing projects and working on that in different scenes in Bahrain, the culture and the economical and the youth empowerment as well. And yes, I think my colleague can add maybe some points.
You mentioned earlier the film festival that is a European film festival that is shown on the occasion of Europe Day, so it's in May, the 9th of May. So we are looking at what we are going to do for next spring. We also celebrate our French-German friendship, so it's like a trilateral cooperation. You've got Germany, you've got France and the Bahraini as well. So last year, for example, there was a photo contest, and there was like a paddle tournament, a bike tour, etc. So we do things like that with several member states.
Also, not to forget the photo competition, which we had also during the photo exhibition or photo contest, where we also met a lot of talented as Bahraini talents, and also Indian, Filipino, Indonesian. So just to show you how diversity the society is. So yes.
Yes, and we are currently working on an event that is. It's more than an event, it's a cooperation program really that will take place this summer, because I don't know if you know what's going to happen next summer, 2024, there will be the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games hosted by France, so from July 26th to September 8th. And so we thought that we have to do something together with maybe Youth City in Bahrain, to bring, young people, young teams together around specific sports, and we're going to bring in some German and French coaches, probably. So this is something, it's like a scoop, it's new, but we're, working on it very seriously, because we want it to be really a big and a structuring cooperation, something that is going, to enable the young people to grow with their passion,
Exactly.
their sport passion. So you'll get to know more. On a shorter term, in November, France is going to have an event for what we call the Digital November. We always do something every year in this country to celebrate what we call digital art. And we will welcome a musician. His name is Skidge, and he's working around new music, like digital music, the kind of music I'm not sure I'm listening to. I prefer to go to the concerts that are hosted by our German friends. But yes, this is a hint on what you can have as cultural events in the next future.
Exactly. Like what Ms. Marie said, we are focusing next year on the sport. We have also in Germany, we are hosting the European tournament of football, which is a big tournament in the world, as you know, and also alongside with France, which is organizing the Olympiad. So we decided to make something in the sport section, so people also can know more about the sport and come together and also make a friendship through sport. And maybe like the project with the Ministry of Youth, also in the Youth Week 2023, which will take place in August next year. It's still now in discussing. I hope we will come back with a good result. Maybe we'll see you there as well.
Hopefully, I'm going to look for it.
Inshallah. Inshallah, yes. And maybe also as well, we will be part maybe of music events happening next year in Bahrain as well. And we are now working on promoting studying in Germany in the education section, promoting, also pushing or encouraging Bahraini students to, and this is what we see at the University of Bahrain, where the student also can start learning German, which is also very wonderful. I think French as well, they can learn at the University of Bahrain, so also they can start and then moving, like we have seen with many Bahraini students which continue studying in Germany or in France or in Italy. And exactly. So I think the European embassies, as we all know, are very active in the culture and education scenes in Bahrain.
Clearly, and I mean, it's really, again, it's just incredible to me how you guys not only organize these events and not only for your own communities, but it's something that shows off the best of the communities that you represent, and it also shares it with the Bahraini community, and then you guys also take in from the Bahraini community.
Exactly.
It truly is like a symbiotic relationship. And
just to add this, we had also at the start of the year, like also celebrating French and Élysée Treaty, which is by France and Germany. We had also a bike tour in Muharraq, where we also found, where we also met a lot of Bahraini, which are also just with us, and we had in the Perling Path, if you know, like just through the Perling Path, and we were like really a lot of people. We had also the paddle tournament also, where we also celebrated with French and German communities in Bahrain. So I think both embassies, or all European embassies plus the European delegation, are doing a great job.
And it's mutually enriching, as you said, mutually enriching. It's not a one-way thing. It's really something that we learn a lot from.
It's a win-win relation, I think.
Exactly.
For
built
everyone.
on communication.
Exactly, exactly.
So thank you guys so much, and again, I really appreciate all of the hard work that you're putting into this. So is there anything else you guys would like to add before we conclude?
Maybe I would like to pay tribute to the work that is done by our EU delegation. You know, they cannot be here today because they are located in Riyadh, but really, you know, they are at the core of the European machinery here, both on a diplomatic and cultural level. So, you know, I spoke a little bit on their behalf because France is hosting what we call the local presidency of the European Union. So I feel free to speak on their behalf, but you know, next time I hope that they will be with us to be able to convey this message on behalf of the European Union.
Exactly. Thank you, Khaled. Thank you for hosting us today. I would also like to thank everyone who played or who contributed to make this event happen, the EU Day of Languages. Also a big thank you for Alliance Française, for EU delegation in Riyadh for financing this event. And I hope to make it again next year. I think more and more people we'll come next year with a better communication and with more advertisement. I think we'll have a big amount of students and people interested in languages coming to this event, and maybe we'll see them one day also flying abroad and learning or studying, and this is our aim. So.
Thank you very much, Khaled.
Thank you very much for joining us. Honestly, it's been such an informative talk, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Have a good.
So viewers, stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more on Bahrain Now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the finish line. A huge thank you to all of our guests for joining us tonight. Another huge thank you to all of you watching us at home. As always, be sure to reach out to us on our social media accounts shown below. We love hearing from you. This was Khalid Idris, and until next time, good night and God bless.